And now it's time for more of Southern California's sports fishing voice. Let's talk hookup. This portion of the show is sponsored in part by Ford, the official truck of Let's Talk Hookup. Rancho Leonero, where your wildest Baja dreams come true. Maui Jim Sunglasses, the choice of the best captains. Shimano Rods and Reels, fish with the best. Shimano. And by Yamaha Outboards, official motor sponsor of Let's Talk Hookup. Here we go. Another great hour of Southern California's sports fishing voice. Let's Talk Hookup. Here's Pete Gray and rock cod Rick Mexa.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of Let's Talk Hookup. And for the second hour, just Tim and I holding it down. I want to say a big happy birthday to Pete. He's out the door on a cool little birthday trip. So going to be Tim and I for the next hour here talking tons of great fishing in this second hour. And we would love to hear from you this morning. If you want to be a part of the show, again, 2 ways you can reach us. 858 area code 457-1090. That's our local line, 858-457-1090. Or you can reach us on that toll-free number. That one's 877-792-1090. One more time, 877-792-1090. Not only do we talking all kinds of great fishing and talking fun, talking Royal Star, we've also got an awesome prize. And again, thanks to our great friends up at AFTCO, a really cool prize pack, including that AFTCO Socorro belt and the AFTCO Max Force harness. A really nice belt and harness combo when you're pulling on your big fish, whether it be a big one on your local trip or going on the Royal Star on a long range. A really cool AFTCO belt and harness, thanks to our friends at AFTCO. And we're going to jump right into the phones. It's been a very, very busy morning. We're going to get this thing started back off with Gus, who's called us from Burbank. Very patient caller. Gus, thanks for hanging in there with us.
Yo, Rock Hard Rick. Yo, Captain. Yo, everybody.
What's up, Gus?
Good morning.
Hey, I am going on a 7-day on the Royal Star next weekend.
Awesome.
Stoked.
Oh, not as stoked as I am. But I just wanted to check in and see who might be running that trip, and also what would be the hot trolling setup this year?
I'm actually glad you asked that, because those what are they called, Ricky? The Halco?
Yeah, Halco Max 130.
Those things are absolutely red hot, man. They really work, and that's what we've been trolling on all our boat rods.
Okay.
We have those set up for you guys that don't want to bring your own gear. We always have those set up on the Royal Star boat rods. But if you're going to use your own gear, that's what I'd be trolling right now. And make sure you wire them down below, because we've lost a couple of those.
Oh, no kidding.
The pesky skin, lurking around those kelps. We've had a few sacrifices. As far as who's running the boat, right now on the schedule, Captain Randy Toussaint and backed up by Captain Brian Sims. Those two should be hosting that voyage, but we're interchangeable. You never know. We make some changes on the fly, if one of us needs to do something else or if something comes up. So you never know. Could be seeing you out there, Gus, but regardless, I'll see you there coming and going.
That's the beauty of Royal Star, is every operator that you have on the boat is just as high level as they come, and no matter what, there's never a next, there's never a hope. It's just between you and Randy and Brian, and no matter what, you've got years upon years upon years of experience behind the wheel on every trip.
Absolutely right.
My largest fish came with Randy as captain.
There's an awful lot of people who have that story. Awful lot of you out there.
Pretty darn cool, Gus. Have a great time on your trip.
Thanks, guys.
Hey,
Thank
appreciate
you, my
it
friend.
very much. We got another friend of the show, Rick Jensen, Sport Fishing Financials, on the line. What's up, Rick?
Just getting back from another trip out yesterday, still getting into some of those good yellowfin up here.
Excellent.
I wanted to talk about the hammerhead shark incident. Did you guys get any more information on that? You said somebody was attacked by a hammerhead.
Not a word. I mean, that was news to us. I did a quick search during the break. I mean, obviously not a ton of looking, but went through quick, and I turned up nothing. So I don't know a thing about it, Rick.
Well, I had an encounter yesterday. I was out on my boat with Charlie Louse and Mike Louse, his father, from the Excel, and Charlie and I jumped in the water to pay a visit to some Dorado that didn't want to bite. And we always make sure that someone on the boat is spotting and having a look. And Mike, with his eyes, he said, "Hey, there's a hammerhead." He let us know, and he stayed close. And so we saw the shark before it saw us. And I tell you, I've never seen a shark turning a U faster than I saw this big hammerhead. He saw us, and his head was coming towards us, and before I knew it, his head and tail were away from us. So he didn't seem too excited. You know, I know they're in different moods, but anytime you're in the water and you've got somebody looking and you're paying attention and you've got a spear gun in your hand, I think you can probably avoid being attacked. Like Tim said, what did the guy do? Try to go up and pet it, or what really happened here?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that there probably would have been some more info about that, and I think if that were something that happened, I think probably all of us would have heard a little more about it, Rick. But well, I'm glad you guys had a good trip. Sounds like you had some good Dorado. And was this one of your trips where you send people out to come fishing with you?
Oh, well, lately we've been bouncing out on our boat with a lot of clients and friends, and that was my buddy Mike Laus here, who's the deckhand on the Excel. He's working all the time, so he never gets to fish. He gets a day off, so we went out together. And
there you go. Well, if somebody wants to join Sport Fishing Financial, have you help them out with that kind of stuff, and go on one of your trips, what would be the best way for somebody to do that?
Always checking us on the web. We just posted some stuff on Facebook or the web. Our web address is sportfishingfinancial.com.
All right, sounds good. Rick Jensen, appreciate it. Great report. Sounds like you guys had a lot of fun, and we will talk to you real soon. Back in the phones, they are packed solid. Mike in El Cajon, you're up next on Let's Talk Hookup. Hi, Mike.
Hi, good morning, guys. Thank you for taking my call. I've been up till 1:30 in the morning on the website looking up about the boat and whatnot and some trips and whatnot. And I have two questions, and then I got one comment. My one question was, I noticed on a couple of the multi-day trips, even the 3 to 6 day trips, that the rod recommendations and the reels, I noticed they had the Seeker Classic, and then they recommended the Black Steel. The Seekers I think I have only one Black Steel. Most of my Seekers are all Super Seekers. So I'm wondering, would the Super Seekers still be able to be used in place of the regular Classic or the Black Steel? And then I wanted to make a comment. You know, I went on the code of ethics. I was logging on different things, and I thought that's something that everybody out there, if they haven't had a chance to do, definitely look that up. It's going to sustain these fish for many years. And then I seen the video, and here's Pete Gray in the helm with the captain. I'm thinking, wow, I wonder if Pete got to cruise around with the boat and play captain for a little while. And then I watched the video of how you guys actually take the catch and you take the gills out, whatnot, cut that belly up, clean them all up before you put them in the hole there. And I thought that was really, really interesting.
Yeah, you guys certainly take care of the fish better than probably, I mean, as good as could possibly be done. It never fails to see, amaze me watching you guys go through that process of a second that fish comes on board. I mean, that fish is gilled and gutted and spiked and in that RSW within minutes after the catch. And then what always gets me, Tim, is how you guys are able to continue that same process even when you're on the ropes. I mean, 5 or 6 fish going and there's, people needing to get under and over, and yet still somehow the crew always seems to get all that fish done. It never ceases to amaze me.
No, you and I have talked about it before. It's actually, the better it is, the more efficient we get at it. I mean, we all shift into high gear and away we go. And there's no prima donnas on our crew. We're all, myself included,
right.
Doesn't matter who's driving, like we're all down there. It's a 7-man show. We get the guys in the galley out there, all of whom can swing a gaff with the best of them or throw bait over the side, whatever needs to be done. And I mean, you got a lot of guys throwing their full weight at it. It gets the job done and then some. Thank goodness.
Cool watching like the zone defense going. 2 guys in the bow. Okay, Steve, I got one coming up, and okay, I got it. It's cool to see. And like you say, that's another thing that probably a lot of don't have is, Chef Drew is also one of the, I've watched a lot of times, both myself and for passengers and buddies next to me, one of the best coaches, that you could imagine. I mean, this is the guy that's preparing some unbelievable 5-star meal and making a special sauce, and 10 minutes earlier he was coaching a guy through catching a 200-pounder all the way from start to finish.
That's right.
Pretty cool to
He's
watch.
another one of those guys, I mean, he walks the walk and talks the talk. He's right out there. I mean, he's had so much experience, and the guy's a phenomenal fisherman. Interestingly enough, Drew had never fished. He fished like lake fish, whatever, before he got on Royal Star, and here we are, I think 9 years later. That guy is right up there with as good of a fisherman that I've ever seen. I mean, he came into his own, absolutely loves it. He's got an aptitude for it. Pretty incredible.
And it blows me away every time. And you don't get used to it. Maybe you do. Maybe you do on the boat all the time, but you certainly don't get used to it. Even going year after year after year with Royal Star, how amazing the meals that Drew is able to prepare day after day. And people that haven't experienced the Royal Star, it's one of those things you just wouldn't believe it until you saw it. What he does out of the space that he has in that room is incredible.
And now we've got a new chef that joined our team back in July. It's Mike Smith, the guy. He got his again, a guy who's never worked on a boat before. The first couple trips, naturally, he's got to feel his way around, but he's really coming into his own now.
Awesome.
This last voyage, he just went off, and it's cool to see some new. It's a different style, but the quality of the meals, the presentation, again, it just right back up there now. Pretty epic.
That's right. Hey, Mike, appreciate the phone call very much. Thanks a lot for that. And as far as your rods go too, black steel versus super steel, it's literally just a difference in material. Rods would be just fine for you. As long as the model numbers are appropriate, should be no problem between the rods that you have versus what was listed there. So no worries at all on that. And if you have any questions, always feel free to contact. I'm sure you could call the office if a guy had a particular question. That's another thing about Royal Star is you guys typically when one of you guys, Tim, is not on the boat, they're in the office or at least a day or two away from returning a phone call. If somebody had questions on a particular trip. Would you say?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. Always call the office. All right. Hey, appreciate that again, Mike, very much. Harvey in Simi Valley, you're up next on Let's Talk Hookup. What's up, Harvey?
Well, good morning. I'm scheduled to be on a long-range trip at the end of January. And with the El Nino, I'm wondering what the sea and water conditions should be. I mean, are we going to be having 14 days of nonstop howling rains?
I don't think so by January, and that would be pretty odd. It would be very rare. I know we had a lot of rain down there last year, and that was a function of that warmer water. The intertropical convergence zone slipped up to the north, but that was an anomaly. I've only seen one other year like that. 1991, we had the same thing. We had a lot of rain in November, December, and January. But by the time January comes along, most of it was in November, December. By the time January comes along, it's pretty rare to be getting rain and inclement weather. That's the dry season down there. So, I mean, I think you can, if you take it in a historical perspective, the reasons why we schedule our trips down there when we do in the months of, again, December, January, February, March, April, is because that's the best time of year for weather down there. Standard trade winds, it's 12, 15, 18 knots of northeast wind. That's pretty common down there at that time of year. But to really have inclement weather on those voyages at that time of year it's the exception. It's not the rule.
So it's going to be more, it's not going to be like Southern California where we're probably going to be getting drenched. It'll probably be drier and better weather down there.
Oh, absolutely. I've only seen a handful of times in doing this, in fishing down there for 25 years, I've only seen a handful of times where somewhere as low as, the 20-degree latitude or lower is influenced in any way by the storms coming through, winter storms coming through from originating in the Gulf of Alaska. And usually those cold fronts, they stay way up above, and it's rare for them to have any impact on the ocean in weather conditions below like 25 north. It's really rare. Again, it's the exception, it's not the rule.
Well, thank you much. I didn't know if the El Nino was going to make drastic changes to that.
It sure is hard to say. I mean, I'm waiting with bated breath. I got to admit, you just don't know. Right. We've seen like the El Nino of 1991 and 92. The fishing down there, the weather, the fishing, everything was just. I mean, it was incredible, man. We had phenomenal fishing the wahoo fishing was off the scale. The tuna fishing was off the scale. And then you contrast that with the El Nino of 98 when we had a tough year down there. It had a pretty negative impact on the fishing. Most of the water was so warm that a lot of the biomass had shifted north, and we scratched and kicked and picked our way along. So, it's the classic. It's fishing, man. You just never know. I mean, it could be one of those years that's just off the charts, because the water's warm and more of that tuna that's down by the equator and inside pushes up, or it could be a year where you're wishing you were somewhere else.
You're like this. You just throw the book away.
You literally do. You just throw the book away and you hope for the best. And the beauty of it is it's fishing, and you go down there recognizing that and if it's one of those trips that the fish let you down, you try your heart out and you enjoy the vacation
enjoy the Drew food.
Enjoy the food and have a great time with everybody out there. That's how it goes.
If I may ask one more, is what do you think about Cowtown this year?
Again, that's one of those variables. I just don't know. I really think that whole, I remember we talked about this in that last show, that whole phenomena where all that big fish, the quantity of big fish that was down in those lower banks was a result of like 5 consecutive years of really high recruitment in the Eastern Pacific. And again, it was a byproduct of the El Nino warm water cycle. There were a number of consecutive years where recruitment was really up and the yellowfin tuna population expanded. So, for the following 5, 6, 8 years, we realized the reward was that there was a lot more big ones left. There were a lot more tuna in the pool that grow up and get big, not get caught and just survive the natural mortality cycle. And we all benefited in the form of there just being a lot of big fish around and available. The cooler water cycle, it dropped recruitment. So, that reflected in the number of big fish that were down there. What I would hope would happen now that last year was a warm water year, this year's a warm water year, it's going to start building up again. There's going to be higher recruitment, and it's going to result in more opportunities again on those lower banks, Ridge, Alejos Rocks, the whole 9 yards down there. I could be talking out my rear here. I don't have the scientific credentials to back it, but I have a lot of years on the water, and I know some things that happen out there aren't by coincidence.
There you go. Harvey, appreciate the phone call very much. We could easily conceive that, as these 25-pounders that we're catching right now, that same school could conceivably be the 225-pounders that you catch, 3, 4, 5 years from now.
That's exactly right. And what it really boils down to, again, it's just sheer numbers.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's a numbers game out there. And when there's a heck of a lot more of them that are small, that in the end ends up being a heck of a lot more of them that get big. As long as conditions are conducive to that, which they are now. So anyway, let's just hope that the big tunas down there right now are making lots and lots of little tunas.
I like it, man.
That'll mean more bigger tuna later.
Harvey, appreciate the phone call. Hey, it's time to find out what's going on the water. Your saltwater guide, Captain Dave Hansen, is standing by with that fishdope.com report, which today is sponsored in part by Terrafin Sea Surface Temperature Charts. Terrafin charts give you the latest in water conditions, and they help you catch more fish and save fuel. Terrafin charts are helpful all year round to find the best water conditions. Check out the new and improved Terrafin Mobile for your Apple or Android device. You can take Terrafin with you everywhere you go, all for the same low price. For more information, go to Terrafin.com. We're going to talk to the man right now, Dave Hansen, again, your saltwater guide. What's up, Dave?
Good morning, Tim. Good morning, Rick. How are you guys doing today?
Hey, we're doing great this morning. I know you've been having a heck of a couple of weeks there. Could it have possibly kept rolling this week, Dave?
It's still going on right now. I'm sitting in a job. Tell me, how do I make a money?
Sounds like we got a little tough reception for you there, Dave. Hopefully you might be able to give us a ring back there, but just kind of losing you on the sat phone there. So hopefully we can reconnect with Dave in a bit. But in the meantime, we're going to go to Captain Mark Gillette, who's on the Eclipse. What's up, Mark?
Hey, good morning, guys. How you doing?
Good. Very coming in loud and clear, Mark. Sounds like you're on the beach there.
No, yeah. Well, we're actually out with Dave Povey on a pelagic bird trip.
Double
here on a day-and-a-half trip. Good yellowfin tuna fishing close to the beach, so they were able to get the boat all cleaned up and ready to go for our birding trip here today.
Awesome, Mark. Well, certainly some really good fishing going on right now, both the Eclipse and the Commander. We've been seeing the excellent scores of yellowfin tuna fishing. It's got to be a fun week to be on the boat.
Yeah, it sure is. I mean, it's just another boring fishing report. Lots of yellowfin, more yellowfin. Guys don't want to come out now. Now would be a bad time.
Well,
guys, I'm just kidding. Come on out. We've got trips both on the Eclipse and the Commander through the landings there. And one thing I was calling about, instead of boring everybody with our fishing reports, is that we've seen an increase in Dorado in our fish. Everybody's got to have the flat falls, and if you can't get the flat falls, those yellowfin are pretty keyed in on that Colt sniper jig. So go out and get some of those. The bait can be very tough. The guys are trying as hard as they can to get us good bait, but some days it just can't connect on the bait for us. And we did really well on those Colt snipers and flat falls the other day. We had no bait, and we still had 75 yellowfin tuna. So,
cool.
they work very effectively.
It's certainly something that, like you say, and that's a very good call, Mark. I mean, I know and you said it best. I mean, those guys are working their butts off, doing the very best job they can as far as keeping bait on the boat for you. But when those scenarios come up, or later in the day, if there's a bait issue, having a reliable, jig to continue to put fish on the boat. And we talked about earlier in the show, there's just no denying how well that Colt Sniper and flatfall jig have been working on that yellowfin tuna.
Yeah, I mean, we're not paid by Shimano or anything like that. It's just, we like to tell everybody what's working out here. And there's times where it doesn't matter what jig you throw in the water, but at times when you've got no live bait, everybody's concerned about the bait. It's not that these guys aren't trying. It's the El Nino and the water's warm and there's no cold water along the beach with nutrients in it for that bait to feed on. But it's also why this fish is all up here close to the beach looking for food. And, it's feeding deep at times. We see that red crab, and that fish comes up jugged with red crab, but that red crab just has not a lot of nutritional value for those fish. So when we present our sardines, or mackerel have been very effective for us. That's why they bite so well. The other day we were fishing 7 miles in front of Oceanside, so pretty neat fishing.
Very cool stuff going on. Well, somebody wants to come fishing on the Eclipse or the Commander, Mark, you got any opportunities for us this week?
Yeah, this week you can come on the Commander. I believe we have day and a half trips out of Fisherman's Landing and 1 day trips. You can get on their website. And the Eclipse actually has a day and a half trip on, I want to say Wednesday night. And then guys, if you're looking for something Labor Day weekend, we got some open dates. And charters, of course, just give us a call. We'd love to take y'all out fishing.
Mark, awesome. Again, C4sportfishing.com. You can check out the Eclipse, fishermanslanding.com for the Commander. Great info, Mark. Appreciate that. Glad to hear it was such another great week fishing here for you guys.
All right, guys. I'll let you go. Thanks for having us on.
All right, Mark. Again, appreciate that. Well, hopefully we'll hear back from Dave Hansen. But as always, if you want the information that Dave puts out, which is every week just awesome, you can always check out fishdope.com. It is no question the best source as a private boater. I just couldn't imagine not having it. I mean, it's a full information source, weather, fishing, updates, everything that's going on. And for $20, if you can save $20 for a brand new membership to fishdope.com by checking out, by punching in the code Hookup Now. Again, Hookup Now, all lowercase. Just go on to fishdope.com, sign up for your new membership. Hookup Now will save you $20 on a yearly subscription, and you'll get that info from Dave and all the boys reporting to fishdope.com. It's certainly the best source for private boat information, and hopefully we'll get the sat phone figured out, and we'll hear from Dave a little bit later on in the show. And hey, when we come back, we got a lot more Let's Talk Hookup coming your way. More of your phone calls, more great information. You stay tuned. It's Let's Talk Hookup on the mighty 1090.
Doing business with the right company always pays off, and Job Site Supply is that kind of company. Selling commercial contractor supplies since 1987, Job Site Supply specializes in quality and service. With lines like Milwaukee Electric Tools, their name says it all. Dependable job site delivery on the newest Milwaukee tools like the M12 Compact Vacuum and the M18 Cordless Shears. With an expansive inventory and knowledgeable staff, make Job Site Supply your source for Milwaukee tools. Check JobSiteSupplyCo.com for more details.
It's time to get excited about fishing, and Point Loma Sport Fishing has everything you'll need. They offer half-day and three-quarter-day trips daily, perfect for families and the novice or seasoned fishermen. Point Loma Sport Fishing also offers overnight to multi-day trips, targeting the best of seasonal catches. Visit their website at pointlomasportfishing.com, where you can purchase tickets online and get more information on the trips available, or call 619-223-1627.
If you are ready to experience a real Alaska fishing adventure, check out Whalers Cove Lodge in Angoon, Alaska. The calm waters around Whalers Cove are 100 miles from any large towns, so you will enjoy a wilderness adventure without any crowds. Whalers Cove Lodge has some of the best salt and freshwater fishing in Alaska, and there is no need for a bumpy boat ride for hours. You can find productive fishing for salmon, halibut, and rockfish just 10 minutes from the lodge. Whalers Cove also offers fantastic freshwater fishing in wilderness streams for wild salmon and trout. The Whalers Cove experience will fulfill your wildest Alaskan dreams on the calm water of the Inside Passage or on a spectacular stream. It's your choice every day at the Whalers Cove Lodge. After fishing, you will dine on fabulous meals created daily by the Whalers Cove chefs and relax in your comfortable room or cabin. Learn more about this exciting Alaska destination on their website at whalerscovelodge.com or call 800-423-3123. Whalers Cove Lodge, a real Alaskan fishing adventure.
For local and long-range fishing, the Islander out of Fisherman's Landing is a favorite among seasoned or novice anglers. But Islander Charters is much more than great fishing. They also do incredible Guadalupe white shark diving trips, as well as a schedule of kayak mothership trips. You need to check out the Islander on their website, islander-charters.com. The Islander is San Diego's leader when it comes to 2 to 5 day fishing. Watch the website for trips and adventures available. Experience the Islander difference. Visit islander-charters.com for all the details.
It's Yamaha's Super Sizzlin' Summer Sales Event. For limited time, eligible new 60 to 350 horsepower 4-strokes include 2 free years of Yamaha extended service. And eligible new 2.5 to 50 horsepower 4-strokes include up to $3,000 in dealer credit. Reliability starts here. Yamaha. Offer ends August 31st, 2015. Subject to change at any time. Other restrictions and conditions apply. See authorized participating Yamaha outboard dealers for details. This promotion cannot be used with any other Yamaha offer.
XEPRS 1090 AM, Rosarito, Baja California.
You're listening to the home of the Padres.
Kent goes into third with the first cycle in San Diego Padre history.
San Diego's sports leader, the mighty 1090.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup on the Mighty 1090. I want to remind you this portion of the show is sponsored in part by Gamakatsu Hooks, Japan's leading fish hook that sets the standard for quality and innovation, strength and durability. The summer season is on, and that Gamakatsu Nautilus Circle Hook is my favorite circle hook. It's a thin wire. It's a sharp hook, right design, not too thin. Don't have to worry about things stretching. Unlike some of the designer hooks that have crazy huge wire gauge that's going to slow the bait down, it's a really, really good hook. It's the right design and durability to help you catch your fish of a lifetime. Get Gamakatsu Super Nautilus hooks at your favorite tackle store. Let's jump back into the phones. Tim, I know they are packed up solid, wanting to talk to you. How about we started off with Kenny calling us from Hawaiian Gardens. Good morning, Kenny. Welcome to Let's Talk Hookup.
Hey, morning, everybody. How's everybody doing?
Morning, good.
Good. Hey, Tim, I got a pretty fair collection of inside sport fishing. Just wondering if Michael Folks or anybody's been out doing any filming this last season here.
Not with us, but he obviously has an open invitation anytime, and I've had some great voyages with him in the past, so I could go on and on extending accolades to Michael and inside sport fishing. Love the program, love those guys. I mean, it's just win-win, plus, positive. They're epic.
They get it. You know, they definitely, he does such a good job. That guy is such like the master in that editing booth of telling the story and just got it from the dock lines kicking off to when it comes back. I mean, he tells the story that, like, as a fisherman, you want to hear.
That's
pretty
right.
Cool.
I think it was either 3 or 4, maybe 3 years ago, they came out on a 10-day. Him and Michael wasn't there, but his camera guys were, and they compiled some footage that I know it was on television. There was 2 different programs a couple of times, and God, they just did a phenomenal job, both, again, of highlighting the fishing as well as I know I did a bunch of interviews with them, and the information, how they pared it down to just what a guy needed to get both the flavor of the trip and also that, that all the admin details, the tackle, what the trips were about. Again, I could go on and on, extending accolades to those guys. They're phenomenal.
Look forward to seeing them coming up here real soon. Kenny, appreciate the phone call. Hey, we were talking with Harvey earlier about long-range fishing, and, perfect time to talk about that fall trip. And our trip that we do, our Let's Talk Hookup trip every year right after Thanksgiving, sold out, I think, 3 days after the trip came back from last year and has been sold out up until this point. But I know a couple of spots did just come open on our trip right after Thanksgiving. Is that right?
That's right.
Yeah.
It was like 4 anglers, a group of 4 guys. They dropped off the trip, whatever schedule conflicts. So that leaves 4 spots open, and we changed the format of that trip this year. It leaves the Monday following Thanksgiving. So everybody, you can get in, you can enjoy the turkey, watch football over the weekend, and have a nice time, relax, let all the boats leave out ahead of us, 3-4 days between, and we take off and head out for it's still a 12-day trip, 12 days on the boat, but then rather than motor home to San Diego, we're going to motor into the Cape. Everybody's going to have the opportunity to jump off and fly home, which absolutely my favorite trip. I love it for a variety of reasons. Number one, it gives you a little bit more time to fish down there in the zone, whether we're out there at Hurricane Bank, around the islands. We're also, if there's opportunities at those big fish in on those lower banks, that's where we're going to be hanging our hat. We know what happened on Aleos Rocks last year with that wahoo in those warm water years. I think that there's a very good chance of seeing a repeat of that phenomena. So it's basically a best of both worlds trip. It's just phenomenal, the opportunity. And again, 4 spots opened up.
Yeah.
So
and a really great traditional time of year for big fish fishing. And on that trip, a really fun group of guys. The core guys are still the same year after year after year, and a lot of fun. It's a really cool trip. It's the one I look forward to more than anything else all year long. And
good as it gets.
Yeah,
it
awesome.
really is. And we made, Ricky and I, after the trip, the last couple of years, the format that we ended up going down below, we got together between Rick and I and the core group. We sat in the galley that one night and kicked the idea around like, hey, let's make this thing into a 12-15 instead of motoring all the way back north and eating a couple of days of the trip traveling, going home. Let's just keep, let's make those 2 days, those extra days, fishing days, and go straight to the Cape. Run a day in rather than 3 days. And the idea was embraced by everybody. We're all enthusiastic about it, myself in particular. And from a fisherman's perspective, you just can't get any better that time of year. And it's the only trip at that time of year doing that. Right. We're the only guys the only boat that's going to stay down there and drive east instead of drive north for 3 days. So, you can't go wrong. The time of year, again, the group, it's just a phenomenal opportunity to take advantage of every opportunity available.
Really shows that you guys are fishermen first and schedule people second, because that trip started its life as a 10-day trip, which was ideal for fishing that big fish when it was down on the beach, and it was scheduled around that. I think probably years before, that was the traditional time of doing 7 and 8 day trips, but it was made a 10-day because that was the best opportunity to go catch big ones. And then when that beach fishing slowed down, you said, well, you know what, this trip would be a lot better as a 12-day because it'll give you an opportunity to go somewhere else if we need to. Change it to a 12-day, and lo and behold, boom, 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 killer trips in a row. And then, again, that has since morphed into, well, let's make it a 12-day where you fly home because that's going to give us X amount of more days. It's showing that the fishing is better down below, so we're going to fish there. And it just shows that, you guys make your schedule strictly around fishing and not around what could be best for the boat or anything else.
I'm glad you made that point because that's true. I'm the one behind the helm up there. Randy's behind the helm. Brian's behind whoever it may be. Hey, we want to catch fish. Right. That's what we're there for. We're out there as fishermen. We're not tour directors. We're fishermen, man. That goes for us driving the boat as well as all our crew. The reason we're there is because we love fishing and we love catching fish, and that's exactly what we do. We sit down and our entire schedule from January 1 to December 31, we sit down and go, what trip do I want to be driving as a fisherman? What position do I want to put myself in as having the best opportunity to clobber those things? And that's exactly how we build our schedule.
If you looked at your schedule from 10 years ago, the lengths of trips are probably, completely different. Obviously there's the core blocks that are the same, but you see things different, a lot more longer trips in the springtime, shorter trips in this, some of the shorter trips now in the fall time we're seeing. I'm with you. I think that trip in October could be an awesome opportunity, a 5-day in October. Like, when could you have a 5-day where a guy has a much better than average chance of targeting wahoo on a trip of, as short as 5 days long? I just think it's really cool, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Right on. Well, we look forward to it, no doubt about it. And it's good you bring that point up because there are a few spots on that one. The other one I looked at, I'm just looking at the schedule here, that day and a half, that we really haven't got the word out. This is the official announcement of it, and the thing is wide open. So it's a good opportunity if somebody wants to go. You're talking about ultra limited load. 24 anglers on Royal Star and a 92-footer, day and a half, all inclusive. That price on there, it's $575. There's no permits, there's no visas, and wherever we end up going, that is the full price. All the meals, everything's included in that. It's a phenomenal opportunity to fish the ultra limited, Royal Star on a day and a half day trip, and you're going to get the full Royal Star experience. We don't do anything different. We run that thing just like we'd run a 5-day, a 10-day, or whatever. We run it as a long-range voyage.
I always like those trips, too. Really cool opportunity to bring somebody that maybe you don't go fishing. Maybe you have a wife or girlfriend, a buddy who's never done a real long trip, and you want to introduce them to the thing that you love. It's a really cool way to do it for somebody that maybe hasn't had the experience or maybe a little bit nervous on going on a real long-range trip, and you can see, this is what the food is like, and this is what the accommodations are like, and it's a really cool way to introduce somebody that maybe hasn't done it in a shorter amount of time.
We have an awful lot of converts to long-range fishing that have began their long-range days on a day and a half on the trip on the Royal Star. They go out there and they see the difference in the standards that we consistently uphold and everything about our rig. They come on there and go, whoa, man, this is
how it is.
This is how it is. Yep, I'm on. Sign me up on a 5-day or 3-day, whatever it may be.
That's awesome. Well, hey, let's go to a guy that I know you spend a lot of time with, one of your great colleagues on the water, and that's Captain Brian Kiyahara from the American Anglers on the line right now. What's up, Brian?
God, I'm so fired up. I want to go on the Royal Star, and I find myself checking my phone and looking at my schedule. And there, wait a minute, I gotta go. I gotta be at work here on the American Angler.
I'll believe that, Brian. How are you this morning?
Oh, I'm doing good. I just want to let you know, and I don't know if you guys talked about the beauty of trip insurance or not, but you know, it's purely coincidental that I'm calling, which is a couple of last-minute openings that we have on a few of our trips as well. We have an opening on a 78 Skinny Pirates trip that leaves September 6th. And also we have an opening just came up to fish with Ken and the guys on a 7-day at the end of September.
Oh,
cool. So it's kind of a special opportunity to spend a 7-day trip on the American Angler. And just these last-minute openings, I don't know if Tim talks with all the listeners at home about the beauty of trip insurance, but these last-minute cancellations are the perfect example of water.
Certainly, you nailed it there, and I mean that's the thing with that, with trip insurance is, and I know that it's very easy to get. I know both if, like you say, Tim, if you talk to Tracy and Brian, if somebody were to talk to Lori, they're very easy to do to get trip insurance for one of these trips. It's a very low cost, and things happen. I know both of you guys see it literally all the time. Things come up, whether it be work or health or family or you never know, but what an easy thing to do, and just to cover yourself when scenarios like this pop up.
I'll tell you what, I could not extend any better advice to everybody, and that's if you book a trip, especially long-term, make a reservation for something next year or 6 months out, whatever it may be, it's the best thing you can do in case something happens. We all know how life is, whatever it may be. You can back out of the trip, and it's not going to cost you a dime, and it's not going to cost us a dime. It really puts, from a admin perspective, it puts us in an uncomfortable position too. I mean, we don't want to take anybody's money. We don't want to take anybody's deposits. The last thing in the world we want to do. It's like, somebody has to drop off 2 weeks before the trip and they got $1,500 down, $2,000. That's a lose-lose situation for somebody to have to lose their deposit and us to have to retain it, just from the fact that we can't absorb that kind of a loss on a regular basis. If you get trip insurance, man, it's a happy ending. It's like, man, sorry, let's do it again next year. You get your money back. We don't get hit with the loss, and everybody goes on their merry way. So I would really encourage everybody to seriously consider that, especially in the big ticket trips. I mean, if it's a trip that you can take a hit, all right, well that's fine. But if it's something that's gonna hurt you financially, think very seriously about insuring your deposit, because it is absolutely the best way to go. And like Ricky said, it's easy to do.
Yeah, and Brian, like you say, the upside obviously is the angler is taken care of, and then the upside now is there's 2 opportunities to go fishing aboard the American Angler, which normally would not come up. And what a cool time to take advantage of. 7 days in September, about as prime time as one could possibly get. So again, you said September 6th, and then also at the end of the year, I know fishing with the Ken's Custom Reels trip, which is a really, really fun group of guys to go fishing with.
Oh, definitely. And then another purely coincidental thing, I didn't even know Timmy was on the show. I talked to Lori last night. She said, be sure and call Rick and the guys at the show. But I happen to be drifting right now. It's 78.5 degree water. Unfortunately, there's a little bit of shark in the water, but we got a bunch of wahoo back there laying on the deck right now. And it just, you would be smiling there at Fisherman's Tackle right now. We are just pouring through the jigs and wire leaders, live bait. It's just like it just seems like everyone's got one on, and if they don't come back with a crew member attached to a gap, they're like rifling through their tackle boxes. It's a total tackle mess back there on the back deck. It would bring a smile to your face, I'm sure, Rick.
I'm smiling right now, Brian. Sounds like a lot of fun, and certainly certainly some great fishing going on. And if somebody wants to get in on the wahoo fishing that's going on right now, 7-day, would that be plenty of time to get to where that good fishing you guys are having is?
Depending upon the time of the trip, it just worked out that our timing worked out good here, where we got the rocks on a little bit of a rest, and it all depends. I'm not saying it's a guaranteed wahoo trip, but there is a good chance. They're warming up everywhere. The guys are starting to see wahoo around Seagrass even. Seeing a few wahoo around Bonitas. These things are showing up like crazy again this year. So, anyhow, Rick, I got to run. Wish I could listen to the show, but Unfortunately, I'm at work. Over.
Brian, go do your thing. Now you guys are having great information. Again, September 6th, 7-day, and another one with the Ken's Custom Real Boys at the end of the month. If somebody wants information, do we call Lori? What's the best way to jump on those trips?
Oh, call the ball, Lori, by all means. Either email her or 619-223-5414. We'll see you guys later. Have a great day.
Thanks, Brian. Appreciate the check-in. Sounds like some good fishing to be had right now. And I think, Tim, like you said, that's just the start of that Wahoo wave that's probably going to carry us for here we go. August is starting to wane, and it's this is when that fall crazy fishing. I think it's going to go off.
Yeah, I do too. I think we're going to see that fish on kelps up here again. It really has that feel to it, and even down on the beach and the traditional long range haunts. I think we can expect a heck of a lot more of that. Which, hey, I'm great with, man. Throw a few wahoo in the mix. There's something about those fish. We had that phenomenal trip back in December, and God, it's so funny listening to Brian describe it, and both you and I knew how many times we've lived it. You cannot believe how those things tear up the gear and how many of them get away, and it's just, it adds to the excitement. Of course, it can be frustrating as an angler. It's like, God, that's 6 in a row, but it's normal. You know what I mean? Like, you feel like you're all thumbs. Like, how the heck could I possibly lose this many in a row? And it's just, man, that is wahoo fishing. That's how it goes.
You go on these weird peaks and valleys where at first you think, all right, I'm the man. I got 4 in a row, one bite, ooh, got him. One bite, ooh, got that one too. And just when you think you got it figured out, like those things you will literally lose the next 15 bites. And of those 15 bites, 6 or 7 of them you had on for 3 or 4 minutes, and they're taking line and everything's good. Like, oops, nope, you're not going to get that one either. Like, they will humble you like nothing else. And sometimes, and you described it when we had our last Let's Talk Hookup trip after Thanksgiving. We had the best wahoo fishing I've ever got to see before. And you said when they're biting crazy good, like it sounds like they're biting for Brian right now, when they're biting that good, they're even harder to get going.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what they do down there. They get so fired up. They're just grabbing everything and shaking their head side to side. There's so much competition down there. They're hitting the baits and hitting the jigs so fast that they knock it sideways and make it tumble instead of inhaling it. It just, it is, of all the fishing we do, fishing for wahoo is the most dynamic, most exciting, most chaotic, but it's not chaotic in a bad way.
Right.
It's
it's awesome.
It is pretty much embodies the complete, the thrill of sport fishing like we do. Totally. There's nothing like it.
I will say this, too. If you're a guy that has fished local and you love it, if you love surface iron yellowtail fishing, which I think is my favorite thing in the world to do, the only thing that maybe is one tick cooler is catching those wahoo on the surface iron.
Oh, yeah.
Because they love it.
Oh, they absolutely love it, and there's nothing in the world that can compare to those wahoo flying out of the water with your jig in their mouth. It's just like suspended animation. Time freezes. Like, oh my God!
You seeing this?
Yeah, 60-pound wahoo. We don't even have to exaggerate.
Yeah.
15, 20 feet in the air, just sideways, with your jig hanging out of his mouth right there. You're looking at his beady eye, and just, oh my God!
If you're a regular with Booger and you like going to the Coronado Islands and fishing your jig for yellowtail, you absolutely owe it to yourself to get down in the fall on a trip like that and go give a shot to catching those wahoo on the surface line, because there is nothing cooler.
Absolutely nothing. And even when you lose them, it's cool.
Yeah, totally.
Like when you miss it, like I don't even
care.
Just to see that happen.
Awesome, absolutely awesome. Hey, let's jump back into the phones. Goldie in North Park, you're up next on Let's Talk Hookup. What's up, Goldie?
Hey guys, just came back from a 7-day on the Royal. Just want to relay this one story about bait that you spoke about. Correct?
Go for it.
Yeah, go ahead, Goldie.
Okay. Everybody's bait dies. We come back April. We were the 15th of August. We come back. We're out there. The Royals bait dies. The Supremes bait dies. The Indies bait dies, and because they linger in the zone at Sagros, gets a window blown out by rough seas on the way up north. Okay?
I don't think that window got blown out by rough seas. That window got nicked by a rod or a jig or something, and then a wave hit it, and and it did the rest of the damage. But it wasn't like, perfect storm, giant seas blew the window in. We've had that happen on Royal Star twice. A rod,
sure it happens.
Tip, bam, hits it, or a jig, and it fractures it, and the rest of it goes.
And just like anything else, you start with the
nice
steel.
recovery.
Well, and the bottom line is even when those bait things happen, it everybody in that cycle recovered. Everybody did fine. And that's the beauty of it. It's the beauty of long range fishing. You go down there and you adapt. It's also the beauty of having sufficient time. You can go down there and catch a load of bait with the handy dandies and get your feet back under you and make it happen. You head back up north. The guys fish with the snipers. They fish with the butterfly jigs and the flat falls and make it happen.
So the end result was a good trip, Goldie?
No. Timmy, this is going to work best if only one of us speak.
Goldie, I know that you guys, so end result, though, you guys had a great trip.
No, that's not even the point of this telephone call. My point is that the Royal Star had great bait throughout the entire fishing trip. And in their slammer, they had planned, even before our fish trip left on the 8th, for a bad bait experience. Every time a fish was cut and bled, which was every fish was over the top of those slammers to feed that bait. So when we got into the bluefin bite above the line, we had primo bait. That's my point.
Hey, Goldie.
Not done by accident.
I think I ran the trip before that. You're welcome. we saved you a whole well of bait for your trip.
Okay, one more bow and scrape, Tim, before I leave.
All right.
Okay. Separated at birth. Randy Toussaint and the director.
Fill in. Fill in the blank.
Quentin Tarantino, Randy Toussaint, Quentin Tarantino, separated at birth.
Oh, what a scary thought.
Goldie, I'm glad you guys had such a good trip, and I'm really glad you guys got a good whack at the bluefin there. Appreciate the phone call, as always.
Thanks, buddy.
Very much. See you, Goldie. All right, hey, let's jump right back into them. Mike and Rosemead, very patient caller. Only got about a minute for you, Mike. Good morning.
Okay, real quick, I got to make it short, concise, and get to the point. On a meter mark on a private boat, you stop on it and make a long drift because they're not biting instantly. Does that school go away and you just kind of wait around for the next school to come through, or does that school just kind of linger around that general area?
It could happen either way. But ideally, when you're floating along there, if you're in an area, more often than not, more fish are around, and they just kind of happen by. That's the beautiful time for, like we were talking about. You work the snipers, you work the flat falls, and you wait for other ones to happen by. When in the case of those bluefin, you float along with that kite out. There's just more happen by. When you get those fish in that surface foraging behavior, they're scattered out over. I mean, you might have a school of yellowfin, say it's 100 tons of yellowfin. They might be scattered out over a square mile, all out there, little groups, 1s, 3s, 5s, all just out there, from the surface down there to 30, 40, 50, 60 feet, just cruising around looking for forage, up in that upper mixed layer or above the mixed layer. So
you might run over a little piece of them, but
yeah,
the big wada's over here, or there isn't a big wada. There's just tons of little spots. And
that's right. You float along, and more of them happen by. That's actually when we do best. I mean, that's my not my favorite kind of. I love all fishing, but I love those long drifts when you drift for 6-8 hours and you just keep collecting them as you drift along. More of them fill in. Hey, what's going on over there?
Yeah, some food over here. Let's hang out.
They see their buddies. They hear all the noise, and that's a very, very productive way to fish.
Mike, great phone call. Appreciate it very much. Thanks a lot for the phone call there. Hey, when we come back, we got a lot more Let's Talk Hookup, including finding out who's got that great AFCO belt and harness. More Let's Talk Hookup right here on the Mighty 1090.
The fishing season started early, so now is the time to visit the best saltwater tackle store anywhere. Hi, this is Doug Kern from Fisherman's Landing Tackle. With more inventory than ever before, we know the demand is going to be huge this season, so why wait? Visit us now and get your pick of the best equipment. Hey, there are already tuna, yellowtail, and marlin in local waters, so gear up now for what could be our best season ever. Take advantage of our expert staff that knows how to outfit you the right way. Come by and see us
us at Fisherman's Landing Tackle at Fisherman's Landing in San Diego or saltwatertackle.com.
22nd Street Landing Sport Fishing in San Pedro is home to LA's finest open party fleet, including overnights on the Freedom, Catalina Freelance on the Pursuit, half-day trips on the Monte Carlo, and 3/4-day trips on the Native Sun. Plus, you can charter the Ultra, Spectra, and True Line. There is always plenty of free parking and a fully stocked tackle store. Take advantage of the Wednesday specials on the Pursuit and Monte Carlo, and kids fish free with a paid adult on the afternoon half-day. 22nd Street Landing Sport Fishing in San Pedro. Call 310-832-8304 or book online at 22ndstreet.com.
Here's John Ireland for Rancho Leonero.
Rancho Leonero is very family-oriented. People have brought their children down, and now they're bringing their children. It's not unusual to have 3 generations of family at the hotel. Grandpa, Dad, and normally sons, sometimes daughters. The families come back year after year, and it's a safe place for the kids. It's small, it's intimate, right on the water, 2 miles of beachfront. The water's very shallow in front. There's no currents to speak of, no waves. We have child care, $10 a day for a babysitter. Security is high at Rancho Leonero. It's really unnecessary, but it adds up comfort level. And we really do encourage the families. It's a great place for family reunions, family get-togethers, weddings. We do it all. 1-800-646-2252, 646-BAJA. And RanchoLeonero.com. There's nowhere that I could think of to have the same atmosphere and the same experience that you get at Rancho Leonero. We love families.
Your hook is one of the most important parts of your fishing tackle, and that is why you should use the hook that sets the standard for quality and innovation. Gamakatsu. As Japan's leading hook manufacturer and growing at an amazing pace, Gamakatsu is responsible for introducing a unique tempering process to give Gamakatsu hooks superior strength and durability. Plus, the conically needle-honed points stay sharp. Gamakatsu offers a hook for every fishing situation, including the finest one-piece ringed hooks, light wire, standard and heavy-duty live bait hooks, and the popular Nautilus circle hooks. Get Gamakatsu hooks at your favorite tackle store and stay connected to that fish of a lifetime.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup on the Mighty 1090. All right, the winner of the AFTCO Socorro belt and Max Force harness, an awesome belt and harness combo, thanks to our good friends up at AFTCO, is going to Dan in Encinitas. Tim, can't begin to thank you enough for taking all the time to hang with us. I know you're a very busy guy and fresh off the boat, but we certainly dig having you in here, and so much going on with Royal Star, with Fisherman's Processing, with everything that's going on. But, man, we are stoked to have you in here hanging out with us.
I certainly appreciate it. Barely get the chance to scratch the surface.
Yeah,
it's like
totally.
the fastest 2 hours. It just flies by. There's a million things to talk about when it comes to fishing. And, this is what I do. This is not just it's not a job. It's my life. Every aspect of it. I love being here. I love talking about it. I still love being out in the boat every chance I can get and putting time in on the water, fishing, doing what I've done since I was a kid. It's really with a lot of gratitude that I come in here and say thank you to everybody that's fished with us over the years and still does fish with us. Give us a call. Follow along on the website, RoyalStarSportFishing.com. We have our daily reports posted up there. Brian's on the boat right now. Randy's going to be running it next week. I'll be back out there the following week. Give us a call at the office if you want to book a trip, 619-224-4764. I'll be in there throughout the next week and a half. Tracy's there. If you have any questions, any questions in detail about fishing, tackle, whatever, that's exactly what we're here for. Give us a jingle. Give us a call, and I'll either call you back from there. We'll have a BS session about fishing.
I love it.
What I love doing.
Day and a half trip, that 5-day in October, like I said, our Let's Talk Hookup trip, sprinkled spots open on lots of good trips. Check the website, or like I say, just call Tracy. She's a miracle worker at getting you onto trips that might even be full already.
That's exactly right. I think we have a spot here or there on the 7 days in September as well. So absolutely, give us a call. It's a great time to go fishing.
Right,
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Thanks for having us. Hey, we're looking forward to having you next weekend. Next Saturday, Captain Aaron Remy from the Searchers is going to be joining us, and Sunday, Doug Kern of Fisherman's Landing Tackle. Another couple of great shows. We're looking forward to talking to you then. You stay tuned here to the Mighty 1090, because Bike Week Radio is next.
She fishes better than you. She says, you bring home the bacon, I'll bring home the bass. If you don't like it, you can